In today's Leeds news, Watford fallout record breakers, Farke's tough love for Piroe, Tanaka can do more, director demands money for special talent, and Julian Weigl linked. Morning folks, Jerry here at The View on Wednesday morning, the 12th of February with your Leeds United news. Hope you're having a good week so far. Hell of a performance last night by Leeds. Another massive performance from the team and a lot of fallout from that game to get stuck in today. Some very loose links towards the end of the video in terms of transfers for the summer. But we'll get stuck in. We won't hang around too much today, but there will be a podcast tonight around about 6:30, a little bit earlier than normal, in order to get it out before the big games this evening take place that we'll all have one eye on from a Leeds perspective. But let's crack on and get stuck into the news. And we'll start off with the fallout from the Watford win last night. And last night we saw another clinical performance from this Leeds United side, showing that the reaction to the Millwall defeat in the FA Cup was probably close to a storm in a teacup. In Leeds' last 6 championships games, the club has scored 18 goals and conceded none during that run. And last night also saw some more records go in the bin as this Leeds United side continue to break records in the Championship and in Leeds history to date. All of these stats come thanks to LUFC data. For all of these, you can check him out on Twitter and it's linked down below in the comments as well. But the first one to talk about was the half-time score of 3-0. That was the first time in Leeds history that Leeds went in at half-time with a 3-goal lead over an opponent. A new club record was also set last night. Leeds have conceded just 19 goals in our first 32 league games of a season, a club record low tally at this stage of a season. Incredible performances in terms of the defensive side, but there was also some very strong performances from the attack. Leeds' current goal difference of plus 47 is the best the club has ever had after 32 league games, and it's 8 more than Don Reevy's side managed in their seasons, and currently on course to smash the total club record of plus 49 goals, which was set back in the 1927-1928 season. So nearly 100 years since that initial record was set. Also, Joel Piroe becomes the first championship player to hit 20 goal and assist combined tally last night. 14 goals and 6 assists for him so far. And a club record also again last night, as Leeds have now kept 20 clean sheets after 32 league games, the first time ever in the club's history, which also means, by virtue of that, Ilan Meslier becomes the first Leeds United goalkeeper to keep 20 clean sheets in a season after 32 league games. So really impressive numbers that this team are clocking up right now, and there's very much a rhythm to this. It's similar to last season. It started slow, wasn't the best, but when it took off, and right now Leeds appear to be cooking with the amount of goals they're scoring, the free-flowing nature of the football, which is what we've all wanted to see, is just more tempo from this side. Everything's pointing in the right direction. Some big games coming up, and should we get past them, then maybe we can start looking a little bit higher into the Premier League for next season. But despite all of this, Daniel Farke has had some tough words for some players, and we'll start off with Joel Piroe and some very tough love being dished out for Leeds' current top goal scorer. Joel Piroe is finding his rhythm finally at Leeds, and his 14th goal of the season has equalled his total tally for last season. And despite the superb finish for his goal last night, Daniel Farke expects more from Piroe. The argument about Piroe usually falls into the category of he doesn't really fit the Leeds United style of play right now, but this season they've managed to find some form of a compromise to make it work. But Farke wants more goals from Piroe at this point. After the game last night, Farke said the following: "He comes into good situations. We have to make sure that he stays on it. I'm not happy with his goal tally so far. I want him to get close to 20 goals this season, but so far so good." 14 goals at this point means he is very much on for a run towards 20 goals this season. He's been very important. But last season, Joel Piroe managed 14 goals in the entire campaign and 3 assists. And so far this year, he's already hit the 14 goals and has doubled the amount of assists he got from last season, now with 6 assists for Leeds in this campaign. But Farke's comments are, I suppose, understandable. Piroe is really Leeds' only option to lead the line between now and the end of the season, and he needs the player to stay on form and stay focused on what he needs to do. And there's similar goals that he's trying to achieve with comments about other players, and one of those other players is out. Tanaka, it wasn't just Piroe, as I say, that Farke aimed a goal warning at. Out Tanaka has also been mentioned in terms of his goal contribution from midfield. Tanaka has been levels above anybody else in the championship this season. Has been an absolute steal for the criticism that the recruitment team get from some quarters of fans to bring in a player like out Tanaka, and the signings they've made this season have all been really, really impressive. But Daniel Farke wants more from out Tanaka in front of goal. Tanaka has so far this season got 2 goals and 2 assists, and that should be pointed out that that's 2 goals and 2 assists more than any of our midfielders managed in the regular season last year. Farke thinks it can be boosted, saying the following: "We can score more from set pieces, chip in with more midfield goals, and we have other players than Au who can chip in, and his goal tally isn't that impressive so far. I'm pretty pleased how we develop as a team, but we have other areas that we can strengthen, and we won't rest until we achieve this." This is a clear change in tone for Daniel Farke around his players. He's moved from a supportive, protective tone to a more direct, forceful and demanding tone. And I think given Leeds' league position right now, it's exactly the right shift in tone at exactly the right time of the year. Farke needs to keep this group of players hungry and focused on the task at hand, and needs to avoid arrogance or complacency slipping into what they do. So it's clear that by giving them more direct and putting it up to them, I suppose, in a way, Daniel Farke is challenging these players to achieve more this season, keeping them focused and, as I say, hungry for what is needed in terms of getting out of this league this season. So yeah, it's a clear shift, but it's an obvious shift to what he's doing. I think it's the right thing to do as well, but would love to know your thoughts on below. Is Daniel Farke right to now start pushing these players to deliver more after protecting them for so long this season? Let me know down below. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. Moving on to a player that has been linked with Leeds, and the directors have been speaking now as well. And today there are lots of reports floating around from various different aggregate sites claiming that Leeds still have summer move interest in the likes of Emi Buendia and James McAtee. But another name that popped up this week was Alvin Sanches, and again today more reports have popped up around interest in the Lausanne number 10, and his sporting director has been commenting on his potential future as well. According to reports from Sasha Tavaleri, Sanches apparently turned down a move to Turkish side Besiktas during the January transfer window and was one step away from completing the move before the club rejected the £4 million fee being offered by the Turkish side. Sanches is believed to think that the next move in his career is a move towards England, and it's one that his sporting director has backed up. But a move to England doesn't necessarily mean a move to Leeds United, and the 21-year-old number 10 so far this season has 13 goals in 26 games, and in his last 7 league games, Sanches has provided 8 goals and assists combined during that run. The Lausanne sporting director and ex-Liverpool centre-back Stefan Henshaws explains what will be needed in order to pry Sanches away from Lausanne. The priority this winter was to keep and try and keep Alvin. The championships you are talking about are not championships where he can go this winter. He showed again tonight that the next step for him will be a big 5. There is interest, naturally, but first, the financial offer must correspond to the value of the player. Secondly, the player must have the will to leave. And for Alvin, he has said this publicly, there was not the absolute will to leave. Turkey was not seen as a move for him that would advance his career. He's probably right in that one, seeing what's going on in Turkey this season. But a move to one of the big 5s has been mentioned, and it seriously is something he is seriously keen on doing. Henshaws went on to say that for the player to leave, the finances would need to be agreed, and he was saying anything above £5 million would need to be a base level for the club to even consider a move. £7 million is the fee that's been touted as being enough to bring Sanches to another club away from Lausanne, but it remains to be seen if Leeds are one of those clubs to make that move. But right now he's a very, very talented young player playing in Switzerland. Go check out his highlight reel. I know it's a highlight reel, but it'll just give you an idea of what talent is there. He's only 21 years of age, so a lot going on for that player and a very high ceiling for him as well. And then moving on today, some transfer links, and this is a very pinch of salt loose link, but it is coming from a relatively reputable source, I suppose, but there are some caveats to this. But according to reports from Bild in Germany, Leeds may be lining up a move for one of Daniel Farke's former players this summer. Although it should be pointed out in these reports that they don't say that these links are concrete, they do say that there is some interest in the player. According to Bild, Leeds United have been touted as a potential destination for German midfielder Julian Weigl. Bild say that Weigl and Farke's close connection in the past could open the door for a summer move for the Gladbach midfielder to join up with Farke if Leeds get to the Premier League. Weigl is very much in the mindset of Ethan Ampadu when it comes to Daniel Farke. Farke brought him to Gladbach on loan initially from Benfica, and any time the player was available, Daniel Farke started him, very similar to what he'd done with Ethan Ampadu. Even when the player was injured, same as Ethan Ampadu, he was brought back into the team as soon as he was available. Joshua Gilavogi is not expected to stay at the club beyond the end of this season, and there are still debates whether Joe Rothwell's loan move will be made permanent at Leeds this summer. So Leeds could very much be in the market for some central midfield reinforcements of a Premier League calibre when they get there. Weigl so far has played 81 times for Gladbach, scored 3 goals and added 5 assists as well during his time, and his contract at Gladbach runs until the summer of 2028, so he has a bit of time to run on that deal just yet. He is expected to move away from the club in the summer, as is Nico Elvedi. Could we see 2 Gladbach players on their way to Leeds United to link up with Daniel Farke once again? Maybe there's something in bringing 1 or 2 of his previous players in. He'll trust them, he'll know them, he'll be able to deal with them. And we'll see what happens come the summer. But folks, that'll be it for me today. Back tonight for some version of the podcast. You can check that out at 6:30 tonight on the channel. I will talk to you then. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you later. All the best. Bye.